Here we go. Alright, so I just need volunteers. What do you call a polygon? A shape.
There's 3 straight connected.
Straight with straight connected sides. Anything else? Yeah. So the important thing is that it's has straight line sides. So my definition is just a closed figure. With straight lines. So if you like drawing examples, that'd be anything like a triangle or an odd shape like this. Or, yeah, those do look like pants, don't they? And any of those would be called a polygon. It's not something that has a curved side, or not something that's just open and isn't completed. Okay? When we add the word regular, what do you think regular means? For regular polygon. Normal, but in math, what do you think that word means? So would you consider like this triangle or the pants, the regular polygon?
Triangle.
Yeah. So triangle is, regular polygon just means all sides and angles are the same. And so that would be when we have an equilateral triangle versus a different type of triangle. So if all our sides and angles are congruent, we could call it a regular polygon. All right, concave and convex. Which one of those goes in?
Concave.
Concave. So it's like a cave. We can walk into it. So if you just remember caves in, so that would be something like this. Convex is when all the vertices point out. And those are the ones we're used to seeing most in geometry and stuff, is when they're all pointing out. Okay, and then over on this side, those are just things if you don't know some of those words. Triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, hexagon. How many of you knew heptagon before today? Okay, so for the other 90% of the class, heptagon is one. You might see that in a problem if it tells you use heptagon. You have to know it has 7 sides. Okay, octagon. Y'all know that?
Yeah.
Nonagon.
No.
Okay, if you don't, so just star any ones you don't know. You want to become familiar with them. Decagon, 11gon. I've heard this. 11gon. I've heard it called undecagon. But yeah, 11gon, dodecagon. So these are ones for any assignment you can flip back to here, but they just might pop up on a quiz or test where you need to know this. Yeah. So anything over 13, you just put the number in. So like be it 20gon, would have 20 sides. So it's just easy. Okay, these are some of the easiest things we do over the course of the year, is just finding the angles. You just have basic formulas. And so if it wants you to find the sum of the measures of interior angles, you just take the number of sides minus 2 times 180. Okay, so just box, that is the formula you'll use anytime it wants sum of interior. And you guys, the test for this unit is completely open note, because what we're doing this unit is making sure you can like graph things and figure out shapes and do some proofs. And so I recommend you take good notes. Okay, it's going to be completely open note for this unit. This is a pretty short unit also.
So are we proofs in this unit?
It's proofs, but not like the 2-column proofs. It's just, can you tell me? This is, we're going to be going over the next few lessons, like how can you prove that is something a square or is it a parallelogram? And so you just have to be able to tell me why it's a square or parallelogram. So it's a type of proving. All right, next one. If we're finding one interior angle, we do the same. Number minus 2 times 180, just divided by number of sides. Really easy formula, just plug it in. And then if we're finding the sum of exterior, it is always, sum of exterior angles is always 360. Okay, so the exterior angle is what's created if you just continue a side, and it doesn't matter how many times we split it up, it's always going to come out to 360. And if you want to know the why, if it helps you, just where these formulas come from, if we took, say, a triangle, what do the angles of a triangle measure? Okay, so if we have a triangle, and so if I plugged that into the formula, I would do 3 minus 2 times 180 and get the 180, right? Do you guys, anyone know what a square measures? Yeah, so you already know some of those basic ones. So if we do a square, which is 360, we do 4 minus 2, which is 180, and then 2 times 180 equals 360. So if it helps you to make that memory link of some of those basic shapes you already know, as it gets bigger and bigger, it's always that pattern. We just subtract 2 and then multiply times 180. So once you have that, flip to the next page. Okay, so here we're just going to apply it a little bit. How many sides does an octagon have?
8.
Yeah, 8 sides. And what are we asked to do in this section?
Interior angle.
Yeah, and one interior angles or sum of interior angles? So can anyone remember without looking back what that formula is?
Isn't it the number of sides?
Yeah, number of sides minus 2 times 180. And you guys have calculators, you could just plug it in, or we could try doing it by mental math. What's 8 minus 2?
6.
Anyone know 6 times 180? You can use your calculator if you want. 1080 degrees is our answer. Alright, 15 gone. So we just set up 15 minus 2 times 180. See how quickly you can get that answer. You can use your calculator. Alright, how many people haven't answered yet?
Oh. You say haven't?
Do have an answer.
Oh.
You have an answer? Yeah. So 2,340. So we're moving kind of quickly through the notes today. If there's something you don't understand, make sure to ask your group or ask me like as soon as we get through these basic notes. Or you can raise your hand and ask now if you want to. What are we asked to do in exercises 3 and 4?
Find how many sides are there.
Yeah. So we have the sum. And we want to figure out how many sides each has and then classify it. So what would we do for that? What did you say, Claire?
Divide it by 180 and then add 2 to it.
Yep. Divide it by, so we have 900 equals our n minus 2 times 180. If you like algebra, you set it up as an equation like that. And then we just go ahead and solve for n. So divide by 180. Which comes out to 5. So 5 equals number minus 2, and then you add 2. So if n equals 7, what do we call that shape? Heptagon. It should be septagon, because sept means 7, but... Alright, so take a minute, see if you can solve number 4 on your own. Alright, give me a thumbs up if you've got it. Right, yeah. Okay. So about 2/3 of the class has finished. What did you guys get?
11 gone.
Yeah, 11 gone. Okay, exercises 5 and 6, something got really mixed up, so we're going to cross those out, and we're going to write in a new problem, okay? So... we're going to find each angle of a regular pentagon. So what are we going to do to find each angle? Yeah, so we're going to have to divide by 5 to find each angle, and what do we do first before we divide by 5? Do we plug it into a formula? Which one? We're still on... Yeah, you're right. I didn't write that in directions, so it should be each interior, because that does make a difference. So each interior angle of a regular pentagon. So that's when we just plug it in. So number minus 2 times 180, because that's our interior angle, divided by the number of sides. So 5 minus 2 times 180 divided by 5. You can plug that whole thing into your calculator just that way. You can do part of the steps in your head. What'd you get? 120? I have 108. So 540 is when we do 3 times 180 divided by 5 equals 108. So we wrote a new problem in because they were printed wrong. They didn't give full directions. So finding each interior angle of a regular pentagon, and this is the answer. All right, for these next 3, we get to do algebra. So much fun. Okay, but before I can do algebra, I have to figure out what do all these angles add up to. How do I find out what all these angles add up to? Come on, we just learned a formula for that. What do I do?
Oh. Multiple amount of sides.
Yes. So it's the n minus 2 times 180, right? Because we're dealing with interior. How many sides do I have here?
6.
6. So 6 minus 2 times 180. That comes out 720 if you type it in your calculator or do your math. So 720 is the angles, and then I just subtract what I already have. So I do 720 equals x plus 140 plus 130 plus 120. What does a square mean?
90.
Plus 90 plus 150. And then I just add them all up and subtract from 720. plus u. And then we subtract and get x equals 90. And if I wanted to check, I could go ahead and add all of those up with the 90, make sure I come up with 720. All right, on problem 8, how many sides do we have? Who remembers how many, what the angles are for 4 sides? 360. So we can plug it in, n minus 2 equals 180, which is 4 minus 2. You don't have to write this down if you know it's 360, but you can. And then we just write it all out into an equation again. And then solve it. Who thinks you can solve it faster than me? Only one person?
Is it 28?
Yes. Caden beat me. Did anyone else beat me? Yes, Alicia beat me. Jacob, you said you were going to beat me. Did you finish? I know. Well, you're right. I have the answer key here, so it wasn't a real race, but... Alright, and then 9 is even easier. Where do the exterior angles always measure? Yeah. So exterior and so then I just do the 4x plus 98 plus x plus 162 equals 360. What's it come out to? X equals 20. Alright, it does come out to x equals 20. So 5x plus 260 equals 360. All right, when you have that flipped to the next page is something you're going to work on with your group. Just the top half of the page, the bottom half is just double up. And so use what you know about triangles adding up to 180, straight lines add up to 180. See what you can do to find all the missing angles there. Okay? And just so you know, this 61 is talking about this top angle here, because this one has to be 50 because it's the vertical angle. So 61 is the top angle, so you can subtract from 180 to find that, and just keep going around. See how many of those you can label with your group. My junior hires, it's time for you all to pack up. Who found another one? All right.
I found F.
Okay. How did you find F? Well, what did you get for F, first of all?
I got 85.
85 is correct. How did you get 85?
So, you know how like you put 95, or you put 35?
Yeah.
So I did 50 plus 35 equals 85, and then 85 plus 95 equals 180. Yeah, right there would be 95.
So we take this triangle.
Yeah, and then 180 minus 95, you know, the straight line.
85. So did you guys follow that logic? So we had 2 out of the 3, so we can subtract from 180, get this, and then do the straight line to get 85 on this side. Or if you remember, that's the exterior angles theorem, where the exterior angle equals the sum of the 2 interior, is a shortcut for that. All right, who got another one?
I got C, I think.
You got C. What did you get for C? C is 58.
Awesome.
How did you get 58?
Well, I also found out G. Because I added 70, 84, and 60 for the G pentagon. And then I added those up to get, like two numbers. And then I subtracted that number, 360, and I got 146 for G.
Okay, so you saw vertical angles here, right?
Yes.
84, and then G got 146. Okay, did you all follow that? So we already found out that E was 84, so we just mark vertical angle, subtract from 360 to find G. It is 146.
And I subtracted that by 180 to get the angle next to it. And I used that angle to get C.
And so this came out to 54. And then we use the 8, now we're doing this big triangle. So 54 plus 88 plus C equals 180, and this comes out to 58. All right, if that makes 0 sense to you, try to come back and figure out how at least a few make sense. But we're going to move on to our assignment now.